All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Saturday, February 8th, I'd like to call to order a special meeting of the Litchfield Budget Committee. We've just concluded school deliberative, and we are going to, we have a request from a member to revote one of the warrant articles that was presented today. That warrant article is warrant article 9, so I'm going to read that article. I have a motion. Yes, sir. Point of clarification.
Can you make a motion?
Oh, yes. Thank you. I do need to have a motion from the committee to allow for remote participation.
So made.
By
Second.
Mr. Taylor, second by Ms. I'm going to give it to Mr. Hayes because sorry. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, abstained. Motion carries 8-0-0. Mr. Barca is joining us on the phone. If you could just quickly state where you are and why you're remote, please.
Yeah, I'm away in South Carolina, so I'm remote for that reason.
Okay. Thanks, sir. And is anybody with you?
I mean, there's 1,000 people around me, but I'm on my headphones.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right. So now I will read Article 9, and then we'll take a motion to recommend or not recommend and any discussion. Article 9, shall the Litchfield School District vote to establish a capital reserve fund under the provisions of RSA 35-1 to be known as the Solar Array Purchase Fund for the purpose of accumulating funds to acquire solar equipment at the Litchfield Middle School at the end of the 6-year agreement, and to raise and appropriate the sum of $100,000 to be placed in this fund, with this sum to come from the June 30 fund balance available for transfer on July 1 of this year, with no additional amount to be raised from taxation, and further to designate the school board as agents to expend this fund. Majority vote is required. Estimated tax impact is $0.00. This was recommended by the school board by a vote of 5-0-0, previously recommended by the budget committee by a vote of 6-2-0. So do I have a motion today?
I'd like, okay, a motion to
Yeah,
read.
let's do the motion by Mr. Leary to recommend. Second.
I'll take that one.
Second by Ms. Douglas. Discussion.
So if I may, just clarify some language change in this article. So this was voted at budget hearing, correct? And it was voted at budget hearing under the premises that there was going to be some language change to the article, one of which was the inclusion of up to, and another was a discussion on inclusion of maintenance, right? So not only was it a purchase article, it was also purchase and maintenance added to it. We did actually include that language in the article. It was reviewed by legal, and unfortunately, the maintenance part of this had to be pulled out of our draft warrant article, which was after we discussed it as a budget committee. And the reason for that is because maintenance materially changed the article after it was presented at budget hearing, which is a formal meeting to the town. Up to language did not materially change the article. So that could easily be added, and it is added.
Yep.
So the reason why I think, Ms. Douglas, you were a little upset today was
Blindsided? Yeah.
well, and rightfully so, right? And I apologize for that. Was because the maintenance part of this, again, we were not able to add, given that it was at a public meeting, at a hearing, it was after the budget hearing, and it was already presented.
So my concern is that it locks us into purchase only and does not give us the flexibility to take a look at what is it going to cost to own this? What are the replacement costs? Are we better purchasing it out or continuing with the lease? And if we decide to continue with the lease, well, then this money can be used to offset any increased costs in electricity as a result. So it gave us greater flexibility. This, as written and as going to be put on the ballot, removes that flexibility and is too focused for what I would like. So I support it with the idea that we can use that money to maintain an ongoing lease, but not for the straight out purchase, because I don't have enough information yet to know whether or not I support a purchase. So that's my concern.
So what happens in 6 years if we choose not to purchase and we have this money allocated towards it now? What happens then?
The board can absolutely put it back to warrant to figure out what to do with this money. We can't use it for any other purpose. In terms of maintenance, though, the board does have that building and maintenance fund already set aside, and we can absolutely use that fund for the maintenance of the array. That's already been confirmed.
But then we have this money that will be like with the property where we have to return it.
Correct.
Because we can't use it for any other purchases.
Or we could look to
A different.
put it into the maintenance or
You
something.
have to have a special meeting in order
Right,
to do that.
right. There's a process for that.
But there's also, I was not aware at the time that we had other buyout options of 10-year and 25 years.
Correct.
Because it would be interesting to know, when do we need to do most of the maintenance? Is it in year 10? Can we have them do the upgrades and then buy them out so that we're not responsible for any battery failures or any panels that need to be replaced within that 10 years? So is 6 years or 10 years the better? Is 10 years better? Like, there's too many, for me, unknowns to commit to supporting a purchase outright in 6 years.
And my comment is, if this is going to build a fund, and you're admitting that it is not worded the way that the school board would like to have it worded, why are we rushing into it when the system has not even gone live yet, into a poorly worded fund that then at that point is going to be speculation amongst this group in terms of what happens if? Why not go ahead, defeat this article this year? Next year you go ahead and write it the way that you want it written so that it gives you all the abilities that you're looking for, and there isn't any confusion later on. It still goes back to the fact that, you know what, there was loose interpretations of capital improvement fund, the emergent rainy day fund and things like that with this particular project that ended up raiding those particular funds as well. I don't feel comfortable that even if the school board does not have this worded the way that they want it to go ahead and push forward with it, and that's why I'd be a no.
Additional discussion. My thoughts on this, and I appreciate Ms. Douglas and Mr. Taylor's comments, and I agree with a lot of them. I think where I sit on this currently, a lot closer to the middle than I probably was 3 weeks ago. You know, I see that big number at the end of 25 and the potential cost savings that this creates if we do choose to purchase. And that's where my thinking is, if this is defeated, we don't bring something back to the table because we've now got a larger potential article that is coming from FIC recommendations. Where does this get lost in that if this isn't money that we go ahead and start to intentionally set aside? And that's my struggle in trying to balance those two things out and trying to project a year from now and things that we don't know the answers to. A lot of things we don't know the answers to. If this had taxation associated with it, I think I would feel differently about it versus coming from the unassigned. That's just my...
Right, but I mean, if we decide to not purchase it, then we have to return the funds straight up. We're in another situation where we artificially affect the swing of the taxes.
You're not wrong.
You
So-
can't vote or create something 6 years from now, meeting the article to reallocate that somewhere else.
I think we have to return it and then
then do it?
there's a mechanism, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a clean, let's transfer.
That was the same issue with the land, where
They couldn't transfer it
they
to the town.
had to be
Well, the article for the land did say, that was in the article, that we would return it.
right.
Right.
Yeah.
But there was also discussions in advance, you can't transfer it between departments and whatever.
Money is
Right.
scheduled for one thing.
Right. So if we decide to go another route, we've now tied up money that we have to return later because we can't use it for, if we decide
Yeah.
another, so to me, it takes the year. And I think there's a lot, like, take the lessons from this year. Warrant articles shouldn't be coming at the last minute. How we have time to vet these. Take this as a lessons learned with a lot of new people in the process. But the reality is, I don't feel comfortable with what I know now about this article, still voting in favor of it.
Any additional discussion?
I'm not uncomfortable with my in favor. I want to change it to a negative. I'm opposed. Opposed!
All right, we're gonna call to vote. We'll do roll call vote. Where's Derek at? We'll start. So this is to recommend Article 9. Mr. Leary,
Yes.
Mr. LaPlante,
Yes.
Mr. Hayes,
No.
Mr. Taylor,
No.
Ms. Douglas,
No.
Mr. Burke,
Yes.
Mr. Cutter,
Yes.
Mr. Barca,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Motion passes. Motion to recommend 6-3-0.
Well, no,
No.
that was 6-2.
Brian.
My vote changed. Oh, yeah, he didn't vote
And
yet.
he didn't vote last time.
I
actually.
appreciate the opportunity to have the
Absolutely,
discussion.
absolutely.
Thank you for clarifying the information.
Yep.
And hopefully, we didn't just tie up money.
All right. No other new business. I'll
Motion to
entertain
adjourn?
motion to adjourn by Mr. Taylor.
Second.
Second by Mr. Leary. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained, motion carried 9-0-0. Have a good day, everybody. Thank you.